good people. Good evening. Good evening. Please do greet us. We want to know who is watching and where you are watching from. Thank you for joining us. Francisca Mashamba, hey, how are you? Thank you very much for joining us on this session. You are appreciated. Greetings, good people. We want to know who you are and where you are watching us from. May I just quickly request that you share this broadcast on all groups that you can think of. So, and if you have a friend that you know that should be on this broadcast, please just type in their name in the comment section. And Facebook is loyal enough to notify them that we are live, and hopefully they'll be joining us in the next few minutes. Good evening. I'm super excited about today's segment, part 2 of youth activism in politics. You requested and we listened. And today we have an amazing guest. Hope you're ready. We want you to engage as much as possible, and we want as many people to come onto the platform. So again, if you have friends that you know should be here, do share. You can share the link on WhatsApp groups as well. There's many ways of sharing this broadcast. Please let's share the broadcast as quick as possible so that we can get on with the program. Whilst we are doing this, allow me to just thank this legal, the team that has trusted in this platform and takes care of all our branding. They are the team that, they are the team that really created our logos. They create our posters week in, week out, and we are thankful. Should you think of opening a business and you are looking for legal advice, they are the people to go to. Inbox us and we will definitely send through their details. In the same breath, allow me to just say we stand with the nation of Namibia. Those that follow current affairs would know that there is currently a hashtag lock it all down. I think that is the hashtag, and it is a demonstration against gender-based violence and femicide. So please do support. Let us speak against gender-based violence. It is bad. Men, there's no excuse whatsoever. We can do better. We can do better. Beating up women does not show our power. If we want to show our strength, let us show our mental strength. Hashtag lock it all down. Ladies and gentlemen, let us just share the broadcast, share it with friends, share it as we are about to get into the show, as we are about to invite our guests. Please share it. Lita from Grahamstown, thank you for watching. Let us know who else is watching and where are you watching from. Thank you very much. Oh wow. Oh wow. Ladies and gentlemen, today our guest is a lady that is no stranger or is not starting to get into the political playing field yesterday. She has been at it for a very long time. I was reading her bio that we shared in the afternoon with you. I mean, the writer describes her life as a movie, like, you know, from abductions to persecution to, you know, she's been through it all. And what we know of her right now is that she's the founder and president of LEAD. I think it's Labour, Economic and African Democrats. That's the party that she is leading. And without speaking much, please help me welcome Linda Masarira onto the stream. My sister, how are you doing? I hope she can hear us. My sister Linda, how are you doing? Are you with us? I see her video is coming on. Yes, my dear sister, thank you so very much for honoring our invitation and just coming onto the platform to grace us. You are welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Sorry, you're muted. We cannot hear you. You are muted. If you can just unmute yourself.
Sorry. I'd forgotten that myself. Thank you very much, Freddie. It is quite an honor that you actually invited me to this show. And I am truly humbled that you actually considered me to come on this show to tell my side of the story, because we always have people on social media speculating about me. Some seem to know me better than I know myself. But at least today I've got that opportunity to speak for myself, what I know and what I stand for, and where we are going, whether we're going or we're not going anywhere.
Yeah. And amazingly, this platform is exactly that. I always say that who better can tell a story other than the owner of the story? So others will be just opinions, but what is true is what you say, and you have the right to define your journey and story. So I'm glad that you are here. People, please do interact with us. Linda is here to answer questions. She also wants to know what you think. So we are here and we are excited. But maybe just to kick this up, Linda, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself, background, where are you coming from, etc., some of the highs, some of the lows?
Oh, I think we could spend maybe the next decade talking about where I came from. But basically, I was born in Wange on the 3rd of October 1982. I learned at Hallingbury Primary School from grade 1 to 7, that is in Greencroft. I learned at Marlborough High School from 1 and 2. Then I went to Chipindra High School, Form 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I've had my fair challenges as a young Zimbabwean in Zimbabwe. What really shaped my opinion during the journey that I have walked was number one, gender injustice. Number two, labor injustice. Number three, social injustice. We also have to consider the fact that for some of us, people who are opinionated, have got an independent clarity of thought. We don't believe in being told that this is the way that things should happen. I'm one person who always asks questions. When you tell me to jump, I don't ask you, Kuti, how high? I'll ask you, Kuti, why should I jump? That's me. That's basically me. I'm one person who has been true to herself, who's been true to everything that she has done. And I don't believe that there's anyone who's a child of a lesser God. And I believe in equality, believe in social justice, and I believe that regardless of our social status in our society, we all deserve to be respected and we should all have dignity. Whilst I'm saying that, I want to draw you back to my experiences as a worker before I stopped working. Not that it was my choice by the time I stopped working, but I was actually fired by the Zuma judgment in 2016, if you know about it. The one that Nelson Chamisa and Tabani Moyo and the government and the Zuma judge and the Zuma company actually wanted to fire the managers using a 3-month notice, which was not actually a prescription in our Labor Act. But when they did that, it was used as a case law. And many organizations, including parastatals companies, actually laid off workers using the 3-month notice mantra. So at the end of the day, there were a lot of injustices that happened because of that judgment, which was not well calculated, considering that the lawyers who were representing the Zua workers, our famous Nelson Chamisa and Tabani Moyo, actually miscalculated and are responsible for the laying off of more than 1 million workers in Zimbabwe in 2016. And that is something that people want to ignore today. But that is the reality of their miscalculated judgments coming from people who say that they stand for social justice and labor justice. We really need to talk about these things, because sometimes people will tell me I'm bitter. I'm not bitter, but I look at livelihoods that were lost. I look at plenty of those people to date whom I'm still representing. We have not yet gotten their retrenchment packages. We have not been given the monies that they were owed from the NRZ. By the time we got retrenched, I got retrenched. And I remember on the 1st of August 2016, the headline on the Chronicle actually was NRZ fires the militant and radical. Militant in the sense that I did not tolerate any form of labor injustice. I'm one person who could stop things from running. I'm one person who would make sure that people would get their money. And when I stand for a cause, I am clear about it. and I still stand for social justice, for labor justice, and gender justice. I don't believe that women are children of a lesser God. I don't believe in this mediocrity that women should be submissive. Submissive to who? We are all born equal. We are all born the same way. I mean, we have to be clear about these things. Whether male or female, we are in our mother's stomach for 9 months. We come out the same way. We learn to talk, to crawl, to walk, to do the same things the same way. We go to the same schools, and sometimes women actually even do better than the male species. But I don't know where that magic where people start saying, "Uyu mukadzi, uyu murume." This is like, duh. I don't believe in all that. This world has oppressed women over the years, yet women are the ones who are responsible for every person's growth, whether you're male or female. For you to be wearing that nice suit today, Freddie, it's your mother. Or if you're coming with your wife, it's your wife who actually washed those clothes for you, ironed them, and your wife keeps on encouraging you to do better. So at what point do we get to the stage of calling most women in leadership mahure, when women are actually the caregivers? Women are the ones who are there for you when you're growing up, teaching you to walk, teaching you to do your homework, teaching you to do A, E, O, U. But when we all grow up, the men start having an ego. Where do you get that ego from? Look at all the countries right now in the world that are run by women, that have got women presidents, women prime ministers. Look at the order that is in those countries. And most of those countries, there have been a review on the COVID-19, how they handled the COVID-19 pandemic. Most of them actually did exceptionally well. Women are naturally organized. And I'm saying this because we've got a patriarchal, misogynistic problem in Zimbabwe. That atitungamirigwe nevakadzi vanofanira kuroorwa, as if kuroorwa is a measure of leadership. Kuroorwa hadzisi njere. You get what I'm saying? So basically, I was moved into activism. I was moved into politics because of the social injustices that people face, that women go through. And at the end of the day, a journey of 1,000 miles started with a single step. Some might think with attention. I've seen all these things on social media. But I know that I'm actually changing things. I'm actually transforming lifestyles. I'm actually transforming livelihoods. Slowly but surely we'll get there until we realize that we are all equal in the eyes of God, and equal in our constitution, and equal in international laws. It is just the egocentric nature of the thing called men that wants to look down and oppress women.
Very well. And I just want to encourage people to say today, let us just be open. Let us listen to Linda. Let us listen to what she is saying. Yes, I understand that we might have differences, and that is the beauty of politics, right? We say it's a polarity of ideas. It's a battle between ideas. And just because we don't agree, it doesn't mean we shouldn't listen and we shouldn't be respectful. So I'm just going to ask that on this platform, let us try as much as possible to just be respectful, listen to what Linda has to say, then you be the judge at the end of the day. But Linda, I just want to take you a little bit back. You said the two things that motivated you and when you were starting to get into activism was, gender discrimination, and hashtag gender discrimination must fall. It is bad. It is the reason why, today we are having hashtag, shut it all down in Namibia. It does lead to violence and violence to death, and it is unnecessary. As a father to daughters, I take that very seriously. But I want to understand, what were some of, as you started to get into, activism, what were some of the challenges that you met? And, why was it important that you keep on going despite these challenges that you were meeting?
I think I would start with my childhood. I think that was the first time I faced what is called gender discrimination, where you are at school and you love soccer. I love soccer. Most people know that. I'm an avid soccer fan. You're told you can't play soccer because you're a girl. I'll go like that. That's the sport that I like. I mean, that was discrimination at a very tender age. And you look at the way we are raised in our homes. You're told, Muskana, Garawakadai, musikana ngaite zvakati. The discrimination that we face worldwide, not only in Africa, starts at the home.
Yeah.
And what I have done at a personal level is to make sure that there's no discrimination in my home. In my home, hakuna anonzi mukomana kana musikana ndiye anosuka maplates, ndiye achaenda kugarden. Everyone has to do that. Because if we don't understand that the discrimination that we cry out loud about on national forums and in civic society and everything else goes back to upbringing. How are we upbringing our children? These are things that even when we try to tell our fathers or our grandfathers that you're discriminating your wife, they'll tell you, you get what I mean? So I think I was one of the very first few computer technicians in Zimbabwe in the early 2000s. And that job was said to be a male job. But I went and did my diploma in IT and everything. I went in Great Face Computer Systems Technology. And I was good at what I was doing. But still, because I was the only woman in that job, I faced a lot of discrimination. That is what sparked the anger in me, that I'm not a child of a lesser God. Just because I'm female and I do my job, it doesn't mean that everyone has to look down upon me. There are times that I would go maybe to a client to fix a computer. I've got all my equipment with me and I do things. They go like, do you a technician? Watch it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I started fighting for that. And afterwards, I ended up realizing that when I was still at Great Face Computers, my salary was lower than the male technician. And you'd be told issues like, you're still new from college, you're still what, but a computer technician is a computer technician. And I fought so hard to ensure that salaries are leveled up, whether one is female, one is male, and it actually happened. I think I've got many success stories when it comes to labor activism because I believe no one should be harassed at the workplace.
Yeah.
When I want to talk about injustices and discrimination, especially at the workplace, it's a sad story. Because to date, 40 years after independence, women are still suffering at the workplace. They are still treated as second-class citizens. They're expected, even as board members, to prepare tea for the male board members, as if they've gone to the board to prepare tea. These are realities. You looked at it and you say, Mukadzi uyu. I faced the same discrimination at the National Railways of Zimbabwe when I wanted to go into trains working, with that is the guard specials, shunting, train driving, and everything. We said, Mukadzi kuita basa rakadai so. I fought so hard because at railways they'll tell you that women get pregnant, you go on maternity leave. Getting pregnant is a national duty. We are giving birth for the country. You can't tell me that I can't do a specific job because it's male dominated because I'll get pregnant. So, I mean, the forms of discrimination that women go through are very deep. And it's unfortunate that because we were indoctrinated with the Western type of education that we get, that we cannot even stand for ourselves. Most Zimbabweans view getting a job as a lucky. You know, that even when they get the job, even akajanyirirwa say akwanise kusimudza musoro anti ndinodzingwa basa. I've been fired 5 times in my life because I stand firm for what I believe in. And I am clear. They never harass me. If my job is to drive trains, I will drive trains. Don't send me to buy Coca-Cola because that is not my job. You get what I'm saying? There's one time that I actually had to represent a woman at NRZ who was a messenger. Unfortunately, she was hit by a car when she had gone to buy Coca-Cola for the boss. When we went to the hearing, NRZ did not want to compensate. They didn't want to compensate because their job description was saying a job is to send letters from Africa House to the station. Her job description did not say she was going to go and buy Coca-Cola for the boss. And NRZ was saying that was your own thing. And they actually wanted to charge her for doing something that is not in a job description. And the biggest tragedy that we have in Zimbabwe, maybe Africa as a whole, is when a person is given a job, they don't even ask for the job description. They'll go and celebrate that I've got a job. And they are made to do everything, even things that are not in their job descriptions. That is why to date, we are still trying to work on a way to ensure that we do labor education so that people understand that when you go Kubasa, you have to do things that are in your job description. When you're at work, you don't have to go and do things that are outside your job description. So there are a lot of labor injustices that we're still facing in Zimbabwe. And it's a tragedy that our unions are now sweetheart unions that eat wine and dine with the employers, pretend the interest of the workers. That is why we have so many labor in Zimbabwe, where the labor disputes are never solved. Because the people that you will be depending on, who are taking part of your salary, saying that they will represent you, are actually working against you. That is the tragedy of our situation in Zimbabwe. And when we go to discrimination in the political field, my babo, Makwikwi, I don't want to lie to you. Why I am an enemy of many is because the male politicians put in money to decampaign me, put in money to paint me with a black brush. But I will not stop. I was not made by anyone. No one made me a politician. No one made me an activist. I stand firm in what I believe in. And what I stand for is to ensure that we have got a just, equal society, free from labor injustice, free from gender injustice and social injustice. I don't subscribe to tomfoolery. I don't believe in donor funding. And that's just me. I don't believe in being funded to stand for a cause. That is why I left activism and went into mainstream politics. Because I realized that activism in Zimbabwe, yakawora, yakashiba. The time I was getting arrested, people would get me arrested. People I believed that were my brothers would make sure that I've been arrested so that they ran around asking for donations to take care of me and my family. Yet they were actually filling their pockets. I'm telling you the reality of the rottenness of activism in Zimbabwe. That is one of the other reasons why I left Tajamuka in December 2016. What you see is not what it is. People can say I've sold out the struggle, but the reality is I'm the only true one in this struggle. And those who know and those who want to tell you the truth will say it without fear of faith. I've never taken anyone. I've never been given anyone's money to stand for a cause. I've stood for what I believe in, and I've stood for the truth. And I've always said time and again that only the truth will set Zimbabwe free. Right now, Zimbabwe is limbo because of the MDCA plus G40 fights and the MDCT plus Lacoste fights. People can't differentiate because they're so indoctrinated. They can't think outside the box. They believe everything they read, whether it's propaganda, real, or whatever. You know what I mean? People don't even take to say, okay, what is the truth here? That is the tragedy that we have in Zimbabwe. Look at when we go to elections. People don't even know who they vote for. Right now, if we ask everyone who is on this forum who voted in 2018, Kuti, what is the name of the MP that you voted for? You'll be shocked. Most don't know. The majority will tell you, ndakavotera MP wa Chamisa or ndakavotera MP wa Mnangagwa. That's it.
Yeah.
Ask them the name of the councillor that they voted for. We ask even people who are watching right now, could you just give us 5 things that made you vote for the presidential candidate you voted for in 2018? No one will say that. Chaunga determine a policy in parliament. That is why we have the worst parliament in the history of Zimbabwe, the 5th parliament. Because people don't know why they vote. People don't know whether they're coming or going. No, sometimes we have to be candid and use the brutal facts. Zimbabweans, they claim to be the most educated, but education and to vote for things that resonate with your aspirations at a personal level, then we've got a problem. My CDX, my Constituency Development Fund, I put up parliament for years. I think MP. If you want to bring up those issues, they tell you, the MP MDC, Saka, you are saying MP MDC, not in the MDC. You see, we naturally breed corruption, we breed dictatorship, because right now, if anyone wants to say, Toko ane pakati pari wrong, everyone say, yes, pari wrong. Linda ane pakati pari wrong, yes, pari wrong. Idi ane wrong, yes, pari wrong. Tekashikapana Chamisa, yeah, you are bitter, yeah, Mukuchuka Chamisa, yeah. That is how Robert Mugabe was created. And if you are listening, listen. Every politician has got the right to be criticized. There is no demon and there's no human being that is perfect. What we need are people who got Zimbabwe at heart, not people who are pushing for self-serving interests to make money, or people who sell Zimbabwe's sovereignty. One thing that I learned in my political journey, my brother, in India, because what I believed in, time yes and MDC, was we are pushing for change. But no, there was no change that we're pushing for. We're pushing for people's pockets. They were telling us what we want to hear. And at that time, they were busy making money. Tikada kutora vanhu vese munoswera muchipa sando muchitukirana pasocial media. Tikada kutora mapicture edzimba dzavo, the lifestyles that they live. Munochema. When we come in as labor economists and African Democrats and say, let's take leadership back to the people. Musavhotera kansela wamusingazive paanogara, voterai kansela wemunzvimbo wamaoziva muchanogogodzera dhoo kuti masuweji edu aputika, amudi. Muri kunovhotera kansela angara kuborodhiwe uchigara uchitugisa. When we come and say, choose an MP in your own locality, who you know, who go and push policies that are pro-poor and pro-people, you don't want. Murida kuona zibaba mai riri kuuya nezimota rinotyisa as if achaenda kunopusha ma-issues. These are realities and things that we have to talk about with clarity. So at the end of the day, you asked about gender discrimination. Anyone who's open-minded with independent clarity of thought like me will always be labeled an enemy, a sellout, or whatever, because I ain't no bootlicker. And I'm not a slogan person. I believe in ideological clarity, and I believe that if we want to take Zimbabwe forward, we have to deal with 4 things: development, devolution, decolonization of mindsets, and depolarizing our political economy, period.
Yeah, you've covered a lot, and questions are coming. I don't think that we're going to be able to go through all questions, but some of the questions I would like you to just hear, maybe you'll address them as we go. I think Mahlatse Milton, they are also South African counterparts, so as much as we can, if we can just loop them in the language of English so that they can be able to follow as well. So let me just start here. I think Sia Kolisi in Grahamstown saying that a board member making tea, amazed at that. Do you think women can discriminate against each other? That is a question that is, if we were to answer that very quickly, what would you say?
Actually, women have been used to fight the patriarchal war by the men. And women naturally look down upon themselves. It's very rare for women to support each other, which is the biggest tragedy in getting women into governance positions. I've gone to several meetings where you'll be looking for primary candidates for primary elections. You'll find the very same women, if there's a woman candidate, they'll all stand up appointing or nominating a male candidate. So until women change their mindsets, and until women start believing in each other, Africa will still have a problem in getting women into leadership. That is the reality. And the biggest other challenge is that most women are financially disenfranchised in Africa and in Zimbabwe as well. So the man with the money always use the dollars to make sure that women run their agenda. And because of desperation, poverty, love of money, trying to slay, the women will take the money, try to fight the other women. So we're trying to come up with an agenda of women politicians becoming their sister's keeper. And we're hoping to take this from Zimbabwe, take it to other African countries, that when we're in politics, we are women, we have to be each other's sister's keeper. I've always been telling my colleagues that I left in the MDC that some of them are even afraid of talking to me. They think that they will be told, Kuti, they are now sellouts. But you look at male politicians, they'll go and drink together, share and exchange ideas. But because most of the women politicians don't have the mullah, they'll think that if I associate with you, or even if we go for coffee, they've sold out their party. They don't even understand the dynamics of politics. And one thing that I also learned in my political journey is most women who are in politics do not even know why they're in politics and don't even understand why they are there. They are there maybe because they can organize people, or because they can sing louder than everyone else, or influence people to do things. But when it comes to policy, when it comes to even analyzing the political landscape here in Zimbabwe or internationally, they can't. I remember one meeting that we once had at the British ambassador's residence some time back. There was a discussion, it was during the election time of Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. We started having a conversation around that. Most women from the ruling party in MDC during that time could not even engage in the conversation because they did not even know what was going on in global politics. That's why most of the time when I get a platform to talk to women, I tell them that if they want to lead, if they want to be in governance structures, they have to stop watching Indian soapies, South African soapies, Nigerian movies, and start being proactive, start reading, start acquainting themselves with information, start being advocates for social justice. That is what is lacking in women politicians in Zimbabwe and Africa as a whole. So we still have a great challenge that we never get the correct understanding, the correct education of what women are supposed to be doing. And these are conversations that women don't want to have. And they would come out guns blazing that you're pulling us down, but that is the reality. If we don't talk about the realities that women are facing, we are doing a great injustice to women leadership, because we need to breed women leaders who have got clarity, who can stand for issues, who can pull in ideas, who can transform livelihoods, transform societies and communities. Those are the type of women leaders that we want. We don't want women leaders who are popular for gyrating at rallies or organizing people, but we want leaders who can come up with ideas that can transform Zimbabwe.
Yeah, powerful, powerful. I'm just going to read a few other comments that were coming through. I think Taffy Muzi is saying our education system is destroyed us. We're not logical thinkers for sure, Linda. Brian Tonderai says, "True, my president." So you're getting also a lot of, I love how passionate you are. We need more people like you, Sia Kolisi, saying that. But Linda, I just want, because there's a little bit of questions that we want to go through. So, and for those that are watching, this is part 2 of youth activism in politics. And I just want to get into that actually. Activism, Linda, a lot of people, when we hear about activism, we think of people breaking property, etc. And the government itself, it's quickly to label activists as hooligans, anti-government. And in some extreme cases, they actually say they are people that are treasonous in character, right? Do you think that activism is good and effective way of twisting the hand of government to do things?
Actually, activism is a good way of showing disgruntlement. We should never take that away. But during my activism days, what I learned is if you start a war, you have to be prepared to go down. That's the reality. If you start a war, you have to be prepared to face the consequences. There is no state under the sun that will allow lawlessness, that will allow hooliganism, that will allow disgruntlement that is against them to go on. I mean, I'm just trying to be factual.
Yeah.
So the moment you decide to be an activist, you have to know that if you're going to be candid like some of us, you have to be prepared to face the music. If you have read Sun Tzu, The Art of War, it says that a soldier does not go to war without a strategy. So if you want to go to war and for you and don't get the results, the tragedies, you might end up behind bars with no one supporting you. That is the reality. So activism in its essence, since time immemorial, is not something that is a walkover or that you can just do and expect that if you're being direct and attacking the state, they'll clap hands at you. Look at Senegal, if I'm not wrong, right now we've got more than 137 political prisoners who've been speaking against the government. We've got political prisoners in almost every country under the sun. Even in America, the Black Panthers go to the American prisons, they're there because of position that they took against the existing government or state. So basically, I think sometimes we want to take emotions into legal things. But if I want to give you my perspective, as long as Africa is still using the Western systems that they did not change at independence, we will continue facing oppression, suppression, and repression. In 1980, when we attained independence, everyone who got into power was interested in living in the white houses that the white people were living in. They were interested in driving the cars that the white people were driving. No one even paid attention to detail that they went to war because of oppression. So let's sit down and change the system. Zimbabweans are suffering today, 40 years after independence, because no one paid attention to changing the system. That is where I come in with my party. We are saying we need a system overhaul. We need to change the way that we're doing things. We still have bylaws which says if you're a vendor, you have to be beaten up. Why should you beat up a vendor, an African who's trying to sustain his livelihood? You get where I'm coming from? We still have archaic laws in force 40 years after independence. We still have the Smith regime laws in operation 40 years after independence. And those were oppressive, suppressive, and repressive. I'll repeat that. Even if I was to take power today and I do not change those laws and the system, everyone will cry again that Haiti, that leader is worse than the one who was there. We are finding it now that people are saying Mugabe was bad, and he was really bad. Now Mnangagwa is there, and people are saying he's bad because he's using the same system and the same laws that were there. In 2013, when we had, 2009, when we had the GNU, MDC got in. They never tried to bring up a conversations or motions to do with changing the system. They also went in, enjoyed the money, enjoyed the loot, enjoyed the positions, and never tried to change the same system. So we keep on crying about the same things. I believe that we need to change the system in Zimbabwe and in most African countries. We inherited a system from the colonial era, which was never modified to deal with our circumstances as Black people, as native Zimbabwe, to ensure that we can create our own wealth. We can distribute our wealth equally as native Zimbabweans. We've got a system that is closed. And at the end of the day, we'll keep on suffering. We cry of unemployment because our governments, not only Zimbabwe, the whole of Africa, still look at Bretton Woods institutions for support. What support? We've got all the mineral wealth that we need in Zimbabwe. We've got arable land. But because we are so greedy, selfish, and inconsiderate, we just think of looking for funds so that we can appease our insatiable appetite for money. And when I talk about this, it's not only ZANU-PF. It cascades down into most opposition parties. And that is why I am so angry with the opposition in Zimbabwe, specifically MDC, because it is the biggest fraud in opposition politics in the world. They have lied to the people, they have deceived people, and they have sustained their momentum on protest votes. They've never really tried to change anything in reality. Right now, we've got houses being demolished in Chitungwiza. Chitungwiza is an MDC-run council. Those houses did not just sprout overnight. They were built over a period of time. Why didn't they deal with the anomalies then? I mean, these are issues that we have to talk about. We all know about the ills that ZANU-PF did, and we still hold them to account that they have to correct those things. But we are saying as long as we don't start a conversation, a dialogue on changing the system to be pro-Zimbabwe, pro-people, and pro-poor, we will keep on crying about the same things. Because the system that we're using and the laws that we're using are oppressive, period.
Linda, I'm now just going off script, right? And really, we need to talk, and I think we need to be real. Zimbabweans are a people that are divided, and I think education plays a big role, because once a person is educated, once you start speaking, I say, but what degree do you have? Where did you get your education? And that starts already to divide us. We look down on each other, and that is the reality. My question is that, what do you think can be done? And I saw this question being posed yesterday on Twitter, and it was to say that, what is that one thing that Zimbabwe can gravitate towards that can unite us as a people? Because as we are right now, speak about politics, there's MDC, there's LEAD, there is, you speak about anything, Ndebele, Kalanga, Shona, there's many things that divide us, and we are seemingly failing to find a common ground. If I were to just ask you, what do you think that common ground should be?
The common ground of what can unite us is a passion to develop our country. There comes a time when we should take off our political jackets, our tribal jackets, our education jackets, and whatever jacket that is dividing people, and say, how do we get Zimbabwe functioning? If we don't do that, Zimbabwe will not go anywhere. Because if I would want to play the devil's advocate here, those who claim to be so educated, what have they done with their education to transform the situation in Zimbabwe besides bickering on social media? If people want to divide themselves along tribal lines, do they eat tribal lines? Do tribal lines sustain their livelihoods? We have had growth points that have never grown since 1990. Has anyone ever brought up those issues except myself? No. We are facing a lot of labor injustice in the workplace, and people will still want to politicize and bring the tribes and the politics and the different political parties. But if all political parties learn to work together for the betterment of Zimbabweans, we can actually find a way out. I believe in unity in our diversity, because what will make me not want to be associated anymore with the MDC or associated with ZANU-PF is the issue to do with ideology. What is the ideology that they're running with? Because when I look at it right now, if you would have a meeting with a panel right now, maybe my party, MDC, ZANU-PF, Transform Zimbabwe, and other parties would ask for the ideology documents. I'll tell you, you might find that LEAD is the only party with an ideology document. If we ask supporters of political parties that what is your political party's ideology, they don't know. And that those are Zimbabweans for you. Zimbabweans will tell you, kwedu kune chaunga. Kana kuti ni president wanga anodiwa nevanhu. We had a very populist president, Robert Mugabe. Aidiwa nevanhu zvekuti, but that man destroyed lives. And that is the reality. So at the end of the day, our education is supposed to inform how we relate to issues to do with our livelihoods, especially development. Let's speak development. Let's push for production. As long as Zimbabwe is not producing, there's no way we will resuscitate our economy, and there's no way we will go forward. I think that is the uniting angle that we can unite as a people. But it's unfortunate that people don't also understand the geopolitics, that there are a lot of Western countries and Eastern countries who are so interested in what we have, our mineral wealth in this country, that they cause a lot of confusion. They come with their monies. They pay those leaders that we love so much, that we cheer for, to cause confusion. And I'm clear about that. That has to stop. That has to stop. For me, if you're a leader and you're pushing agendas that do not benefit Zimbabweans, you can go to hell. We need to start focusing on our people. I've always called out to President Mnangagwa that he needs to open Zimbabwe for Zimbabweans, not opening Zimbabwe for foreign direct investment. We cannot have Zimbabwean mines being run by the Russians, the Chinese, etc., yet Zimbabweans are not empowered, because the money will just go out of Zimbabwe and develop other countries. We can't have our farms being run by South Africans, etc., because they've got their deals. We need those mines to be given to the younger generation so that they'll be able to create wealth and improve our GDP and everything else. No, I'm being realistic about this. The problem that we have is, yes.
I was going to say that I was going to say that this is not me speaking to all my South African counterparts. Don't then say that, go back home. Yeah, but you can go on.
But I'm being realistic. We've got a lot of South African farmers in Zimbabwe, and most of them are not even black. They're whites. So I think what we have to do is, the bad part about everything that is happening in this country is the young people are nowhere to be seen. They are nowhere to be seen. In Zimbabwe, 60% of the population are below 35. In Africa, 75% of the population is under 35. But where are the young people? When we look at the average age of presidency in Africa, it's at 62. Look at the ministers in Africa, they are all above 50. We'll find one, two, or three that are below 40. Where are the young people? Young people should stop being used to have advanced geriatrics course. We need to find ourselves as young people and save ourselves from these old people. We are suffering because of them. I'm one person that even if you bring me $10 million right now for me to sell out, I will not do that because I want young people to lead. I want them to take charge because they're dynamic. They can relate with the changing times. They're technologically advanced. Do our presidents know about technology at the level that young people do? But Africa will still remain backward because we've got old leaders who cannot relate. And I will ask again, where are the young people? They are busy drinking, busy dancing to Jerusalem. Whilst the Madaras are killing our future. That's the reality. Where are the young people? Young people should start rising, occupying governance positions. I mean, we should be having all councillors in Africa being people under 40. But you will still find
Linda, I just want to come in here and say that the system itself, it's clogged, number one, and it's also not penetrable. I mean, look at Zimbabwe right now. By law, you cannot be president if you're less than 40. So yourself, with all the ideas that you have, if we were to be running for presidential elections today, you could not run. And I mean, doesn't it play again on culture? Because then also, whenever you try to speak, even in our culture, our Shona culture, as a young person, when you want to speak when they're elders, you're told to keep quiet. So there's a lot of structural issues that are fighting the youth from getting into power. But I would like to hear what you think.
That's why that time I spoke about a system overhaul, where I was saying we need to get to a stage where we fuse our traditional values with modern day politics and say, what is it that works for us? And what is it that we should throw away? Because at this state, the people who are suffering is our generation. We're not going anywhere. And if we're going to take a chill pill and say, I'm going to wait for my time, what if it never comes? Then it all goes back to the issue where people say, why are you not going back to the MDC? Why did you form another party? There is no space for new ideas in the MDC. It's the same old material that is being recycled. We have had MPs who have been MPs since 2000 in the MDC, are more than 20 years old in parliament. They're the same people who also cry out that we had MPs who are 40 years old in ZANU-PF, but they themselves are 20 years old in parliament. There's no recycling of personalities, no recycling of ideas. The same people are now just self-serving. We're going to parliament for the freebies, for sleeping in hotels, for the coupons, etc., etc. And then people still go back and vote for the same people. There's no diversity and plurality in our parliament. That's the reality. We started LEAD because we wanted to give an opportunity to those who are closed out. Those who are told that if you are not in the leadership, you cannot go and run to be an MP or a councillor. But at what point will you become a leader in a party that has got gatekeeping, in a party that is patriarchal? Because when you talk of patriarchy, you were talking of MDC and ZANU-PF. They are one coin, the other being the head and the tail. There's no opportunity for young people. There's no inclusion. There is no way whatsoever when you are coming from wherever you're coming and you've got bright ideas that you penetrate there, you will remain pansila. And that is the reality. So we created Labour Economists and African Democrats, trying to deal with the labor issues in Zimbabwe, our economy, and also trying to deal with problems that are bedeviling Africa, because we just don't view ourselves as a Zimbabwean party, but we're saying the problems that we're facing in Zimbabwe affect everyone in Africa. But how do we get Zimbabwe to be a success story that other African countries will be able to emulate? That is our vision. We want to see an Africa that is expanding, that will become an economic powerhouse, because all these people are running to the West. The West actually became economic powerhouses because of the minerals that they took from Africa. And we continue giving them our raw materials to refine. Why are we not refining our own gold ore in Africa? Why are we not polishing our own diamonds in Africa? Why is our coffee still being, our cocoa still being processed in Switzerland, which is said to be having the best chocolate in Africa, yet they do not even plant cocoa? You understand where I'm coming from? But all these things we can do them when we put our heads together as young Africans and say, this has to stop. This has to stop, and it has, because we have the wealth right here in Zimbabwe, in Africa, but all of it continues to go to the West and the East. So what are we doing to ourselves? We are killing ourselves, we are killing our children's lives and future generations to come.
Linda, we are running out of time, but we have a few things that I have a few things that I would want to ask you. People, please do engage with us, show us the likes, show us the love. We want to see you engaging with us. Today, we have Linda Tsungirirai Masarira. She is the leader and founder of LEAD, and she is here with us on the platform today. Linda, if you were to be president today, practical solutions, what are some of, let's say, 3 or 4 or 5 things that you would first fix in office?
The first thing is I'll close the American embassy. I am clear about that. Their sanctions have taken Zimbabwe backwards. They continue to mess around with our institutions, with our civic society, and there's nothing good that comes from that country called America in courts. Secondly, we'll start dealing with the production issue.
Can we pick on that one a little bit, because there are people that say that sanctions are targeted at individuals. Is this from
if they are targeted at individuals, I think they missed the target, because those very same individuals that are listed are living lavish lifestyles and they've got money. But the reality, I think you've seen this, you're on Twitter. Kudamsa Siwa the other time was crying that he could not do transactions because he was told that Zimbabwe is under sanctions. There are a lot of people who have missed opportunities because they're told that Zimbabwe is under sanctions. There are banks that have failed to trade because they're told that Zimbabwe is under sanctions. For those who believe that sanctions are targeted, because we don't have much time, I would refer them to go and read the Zidera document. It's clearly articulated. The tragedy of Zimbabweans is they don't want to read. They want to believe all the propaganda that they see going around on social media. Go and download the Zidera document, read it for yourself, and let's have another platform where you want us to discuss about this sanctions issue, and I'll be there 100%, even if you want me for the whole day. Tone sana, and we'll see where America has tried to destroy Zimbabwe using economic warfare that is called sanctions in court. So I'm clear, if I would ever take over power in Zimbabwe, the first thing I would do is to close the American embassy.
Okay, now you can go on the second and third.
The second one, I told you, it's the issue to do with production. We'll make sure that Zimbabwe starts producing, distribute land to young people in small quantities so that everyone will be able to produce, open up industries, because there's no way that we'll be able to reindustrialize as long as we're not producing. And secondly, I think would try and define how our own currency is run. This is cognizant to the fact that the whole world believes that $100 or the US dollar is the currency for the world. But a very few people that $100 bill is actually printed for 54 US cents. But we've got the gold, we've got the platinum, we've got the cobalt, and we can actually determine how much we sell our mineral produce depending on what we want. And I think that's the direction that Africa needs to go to. We need to stop using foreign currencies that actually do not benefit our economies. I mean, this is like work in progress that we have to do and find the feasibility of it. Because at the end of the day, Africa keeps on losing out on minerals because we've got these foreign pegged things that do not benefit Africa. Thirdly, I believe that one of the most important things that I would do is to restore order in the labor in Zimbabwe, because a hungry nation is a dead nation. But when we get our people well fed with proper salaries, we'll be able to get maximum input and improve livelihoods. I believe in sustainable human development. I believe in sustainable economic growth. As long as our economy keeps on going downwards, the people of Zimbabwe will keep on swimming in deep, dark, murky waters. But we need to get to a stage where we say, let's put Zimbabwean lives first. Let's improve our livelihoods before we start calling out for foreign direct investment.
Young people have lost hope, Linda. We have a population of young people that are degreed, masters, some with PhD. They are in the streets selling. There is no job opportunities for them. We have those that have tried to rise and speak and address some of these difficult realities that we face as young people. The likes of Mucheiwa, we know what happened to him. Gadziwore, there was videos that we also what happened to him. We hear of the ordeals that MDC trio has gone through. How do you motivate young people to come back and fight, and maybe what future do we have as young people? I think if you can just how do you get that us fueling once again, because I feel like we're at a point where we've just lost hope.
Before the second Chimurenga War, the young people had no hope. They did not waste their time going to school. They did not waste their time going to university because there was no hope. They organized themselves. Some walked to Chimoyo. Some starved along the way. But they had a vision. They knew what they wanted. The unfortunate part is the young people of today are also obsessed with education. I will tell you right here and right now. I dropped out of law school in the first semester. I felt like I was being contaminated and being colonized mentally. I don't have a degree. I don't need one. What do I need it for? I don't even have a first degree. I don't have a master's degree. I don't have a PhD. And I'm not going to waste my time doing that because there's a cause that I'm supposed to fight. I'm not going to waste my money going to varsity when there are no jobs. But I am working as a change agent to ensure that we correct what is wrong in this country. So if everyone still feels that they'll go and get the degrees and etc., that will not benefit them, then good for them. They should stop crying over helplessness, hopelessness, etc. There comes a time when young people need to find each other and redefine their future. And as long as they think that being a worker will save them, then shame. Some of us decided that we're going to work to change the system, to transform livelihoods, and I will not waste my time going to get a formal Western education that decolonizes my mindset, that sways my thinking to think in a Western manner, yet we've got things that we're supposed to do to develop our communities at local level using 100% homegrown organic solutions. So if they think that they're going to continue going to universities, wasting money, afterwards becoming drunkards because they can't find jobs, they can continue and do that. Those who want to change things know what to do. Those who want to change things and can feel me, contact me and let's change things. That is what is important. But if you think that what you're doing will change your situation, go ahead and good luck.
Powerful. Young people need to organize. They need to have a clear vision, and that is what President Linda is telling us today. Really, I think we went off script because there was just a lot to be said. And you have said yourself that I think we should have a follow-up session where we have people from different parties so that we can actually have a battle of ideas. So we see what is actually, what is it that we're buying into when it comes to political parties. It's definitely a session that we must have. But it has been nice. It has been good. We have hit the 8 o'clock mark. It has been an hour. Time was flying. Do you have any last words, Linda, that you would like to leave us with?
My last words is I knew Zimbabwe is possible, and we have to learn to be tolerant of diverse ideas. If we can stay in one household, worshipping at different churches, Anglican, Masowe, Pentecostal, Magaya, and we're still one family, let's love each other, even if one is from LEAD, MDC, ZANU-PF. Differing in political ideology or political preference doesn't mean enmity, but let's allow ourselves to grow and learn to build Zimbabwe. The Zimbabwe should come first. Antagonism does not work, has never worked, and will never work. We need each other to rebuild Zimbabwe. What divided us is actually what can unite us. Together, we can make Zimbabwe great again.
Together we can make Zimbabwe great again. What divided us is actually what can make us stronger again. Thank you so much, Linda, for your time, your knowledge, and just feeding us with political ideology, political awareness. I believe that young people should be aware. They should be equipped with knowledge so that they know what is happening around them, so that they too can make decisions. I mean, one great speaker used to say, failure to make a decision is a decision itself. But how do you make a decision when you do not know what are your options? So thank you very, very, very much. This is your platform, you guys that are watching us, Young Aspirations with Freddie Mashate. Please do share the platform. Invite friends to come and like the page, share the page, share our videos so that they can reach as many people and change. We always talk about this thing of learning, relearning, and unlearning, and we all need to go through this process every day. And some of the content that we share on this page does that. Thank you very much for taking time to be with us. And from me, myself, Freddie Mashate, and Linda Masarira, good night and bye.